social media can make people think like this perfect parent that's all like, I never cry, I'm never stressed, the house is in order, you know, whatever. Don't hold my child. I'll explain this. Okay, first of all, cussing.
Baby, you are something special, I'm sure. Everything makes total sense when you're next to me.
I had to grab my tea. That's actually funny. I haven't drank tea since I was pregnant, and then I'm doing like kind of controversial topics, and it's like tea. That's kind of interesting and funny. I did not even plan on that. I'm doing a parenting Q&A, like controversial topics, TMI, just honest topics, how I like to keep it on my channel. If you're new here, I have a 5-month-old son. He's gonna be 6 months next week, which is insane. But I'm just gonna actually get started right away because I have a lot of different topics. Some like more common topics I think a lot of people, it's like frequently talked about in the parenting world, I guess. But then also more like interesting topics too. So first, starting off, so since he's so young, like I haven't really parented that long at all. But I'm just gonna share like what we do now. And then there's some like in the future questions, but you never know what the future has. The amount of times that like before I had a kid, I'm like, oh, I will not do this around my kid, and then I'm doing it, like, hello. Or vice versa. I thought I would never do, well, you know what I'm saying. Like, you don't really know until it comes and it happens. And every kid is so different, but whatever. Going into TV, that was a very highly asked question. We have not like turned on any kids shows for Weston. He hasn't like sat down and just like watched TV. We haven't allowed him to do that just yet. But with that, I'll be editing, and sometimes I need to have my son on my lap because that's what is working for us in that moment. So when I'm editing and he's on my lap, he's seeing a screen, which is practically the same sensory as a television. And then just last night, actually, Grant doesn't get to see him that often, which makes me sad, but Grant was watching TV and just had him like sitting next to him, and therefore Weston was sitting in front of the TV. So that happens, of course. It's not often, but of course it happens. But we've never like just like put on the TV for him or watched kids shows or stuff like that. Come on, dude. I also have a German Shepherd. Get out of the way. But I don't think that's wrong if you do that. Something I wanted to point out is everything, not only are kids all different, but the moms matter and the dads matter. It's what works for the household unit. Or if there's multiple other kids, so like maybe my next kid will be introduced to TV. My next kid most likely will be introduced to TV before Weston ever was, because it's all different within the household. So we can't be like parent shaming stuff. That's the dumbest thing ever. It's whatever truly works for the family. Toys, Montessori versus like battery operated, like bright flashing light toys. I knew this was gonna get asked. It's so it's just very highly talked about, I guess. When I first was like pregnant, I was like obviously learning about more different parenting things that I never knew before having a kid. So Montessori is more so like wooden toys. Let me get out his toy basket. So like, of course I'm not gonna have of course, I don't really have any Montessori right now. Well, like, I would say this would be, because it's like a wooden thing, like this is Montessori. But like, those little like clinkers that I always have that slide back and forth that are wood, or like the little bunny, like that's more Montessori. So I started learning about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this, like such good, like whatever, look into it if you're interested. So I wanted to do that, but I knew I wouldn't be like all a Montessori mom. So we have like some Montessori things, but also like multiple things that are more like bright flashy things, not necessarily battery operated. We only have one battery operated thing. It's like a little piano, and Weston doesn't even like it, but I'm sure he's gonna have more battery operated things as he grows to 1-year-old and stuff, because our parents will just buy that for him. I definitely do get like not to sensory overload a kid, and then like not to give them a bunch of toys at once, which that's the one thing I don't like about his activity table, is there's a lot of toys on there, which I can take them off, but I don't, because he only goes after one toy. He only likes to play with one toy at once. I got asked about like how to have time for myself, how to still enjoy myself while having a kid. Well, I'm very much like an like homebody, like that kind of person. What's the word? There's like extroverts and introverts. I'm very much an introvert, like I always have been in high school, just always. But actually it's funny because this past weekend I did something Friday with like went on a 6 people date, like not a trip double date, but a 6 people date. And then my parents came over and watched Weston, and I never feel bad for doing that because it doesn't happen often. When Weston first went over to Grant's mom's house to be watched for the first time while I was gonna work, I did not feel bad about doing that at all because I know it's important for my mind. I know I need to get YouTube stuff done. I know it's a priority, and it's just important all around. And like it's important to date your spouse. Like Grant and I's relationship is #1, and we can't lose that within the time of raising kids. So anyways, it's funny because we did something Friday and then Saturday and then Sunday I even had something, and I literally, that's like literally not me. So it was so weird, and it was nice, but it's also like I just love being with Weston. So we definitely enjoy ourselves, but not like often at all, but I prefer it that way. I get asked, or like I have friends that like to hang out, and I just truly like to be home with myself and Weston. That's what fills me. So I hope that answered. Okay, so but we are important to us. Religion, this was very good. I actually thought I would get this more often than I did. I don't think I only got it like once or something, but religion. So I'm a Christian and Grant is a Christian. I guess I don't really talk about that much on my channel, but I have a video I filmed all about faith with a friend that is going to be going up soon. I'm just pushing it off. I am a believer in God, and my son will know that, my kids will know that, but I'm not going to force anything on them because I didn't grow up that way. Grant really didn't grow up that way either, I would say. But my parents believe in God, but they never forced it upon me. And I actually really respect that because then my brother's views are different than my views. And I think that's like really awesome because it shouldn't be, you shouldn't say that your religion is something just because that's what your parents' religion is. I think it's great and something I'm definitely going to take into, sorry, I talk with my hands all the time. Something I'm definitely going to take into like raising my kids, Weston and our future kid, is that they need to experience the world, and that their views should be different than mine, and I want them to have opposing views. I'm not saying like in religion, like I hope they're not a Christian. No, but I'm just saying like I hope they find God for themselves or whatever. Like, I don't know. I'm not the end all be all. And I want my kids to teach me stuff about life. Oh, I can't wait for that. Okay, so sleeping and feeding. I got asked that stuff a lot. So sleeping questions. My son sleeps 12 to like 14 hours a night. It's insane. He's a great napper. He's napping right now. But I have a video all on that. Co-sleeping, like everything, cry it out, holding them. I got asked those questions. I have a video all on that. I'm going to link it. It'll be down below as well. It's so informative. I give like, that's just a whole discussion topic on its own, from like newborn sleep up to like whatever. And then also feeding, like formula and weaning and pumping and breastfeeding and all of that, and like mom guilt with breastfeeding and pumping and formula and all that is a very serious thing, and I have a whole video on that because it's its own thing. I'm not opposed to homeschooling, honestly. So I'm not also like all for it. Like, we don't quite know what we're gonna do yet. We'll probably put them in public school, but I'm not opposed to the idea of homeschooling. I definitely, when it gets closer to that stage of life, I'm definitely gonna research it. Grant and I have talked about it before I was even ever pregnant, and it's not completely off the table for us. I think there's definite benefits of public school and homeschool. Private schooling, I got asked about that. He will not do private schooling. I honestly don't know much about it, so I guess I can't say that. I need to research, but I don't imagine so. I think it'll either be public or homeschool. Daycare, this is a good question. So this is also something which I'll get into mom guilt a little bit later, but I kind of feel mom guilt about this because childcare is like one of the most expensive things with like having a kid. And we're very, very lucky because my dad retired like right around the time of me having Weston. Not for that, it worked out that way. So my dad retired and Grant's mom just has not worked. So we are so blessed that we have, and they don't want us to pay for like watching them. Like they want to be able to have that time with their grandson. So we're so blessed that I trust them, because that is like, that's number one. If I didn't trust them, I would pay for someone that I trust, but that I trust them and that it's free. But trust is like everything. So because of that, so he won't go into daycare because of that, and because of that also I understand how insanely blessed and lucky we are for that. I freaking loved this question so much. My friends know, and I guess here on YouTube you probably like can get a relation of like who I am outside of like sitting in front of a screen, but I love like connecting to like my past, not living in it and not being like this is who I am, but like growing out of it, but still like relating to what you grew up in. I hope that makes sense. But so I've always loved that, but especially after having a kid and like learning how like I'm raising a child, I'm raising a husband, I'm raising a brother, hopefully someday, I'm raising so many different things, a worker, everything. So I want to raise a great child in this world. I just love this question that someone else was thinking about that. My family is very open. Let me start there, because that's something I want to bring into raising my family. In high school, I was more so embarrassed the way my brothers openly spoke about things, because I just wasn't at that point yet, and it was kind of like embarrassing to me, I remember. But looking back on it, I love that so much, and that's definitely who I feel like I am now, is because it helps. Like I was in high school, I was trying to hide things because I thought everyone else's life is perfect, and like I'm this like broken, messed up person if I share like struggles. If I view something different than my parents, I can talk to them about that. Life is so, what's the word, like interesting, like things that we don't learn in school, or just things that aren't talked about that are more like shamed for talking about, sex, so many different things. So I just want to be open with my kids and let them kind of like learn, you know. And then something from Grant's side, I guess I didn't point it on his side, is his family like always went on like trips, and not even like vacations that are a lot of money. Like they would take like free trips, just drive somewhere, and I didn't really do that growing up. So I really want to implement that in our kids, and that's something that's like not me. Like again, I said I like to stay home because I do. So that's something that's not me, but I need to get out of my comfort zone, or I want to, for my kids. Social media will be a while until we don't even like, gotta take that when it comes, but it'll be a while. He's already exposed onto my social media. Grant doesn't really use social media, but and then on YouTube, and of course all that has always been discussed between Grant and I from the very beginning. And that I was hoping someone was gonna ask that question. Now I said that weird question about like sharing Wesson, because I feel like I have a lot of like kind of interesting thoughts there. That's always ongoing. So I'm not gonna get into that because no one asked, but no one cares. Sorry, what was I saying? Phones use, Grant and I just had this discussion a little bit ago. We're not certain on it. Like the future is so uncertain because so many different variables, but I don't know. I got one super young. I was in like 3rd grade, I think, but it was just like a phone. It was black and white. I could play Snake on it and then like call my parents. But Weston wouldn't have one that early. Probably, I would say like at least 5th grade, like to contact us. Like he's gonna have to be able to contact us. But iPads and stuff, he won't have like an iPad for games. I don't think ever, actually. This is something no one asked me about, but I wanted to hit on this, and that's just body parts, genitalia. I'm getting long. But I've been having this conversation with quite a few people, subscribers, moms, and I think it's a very healthy conversation to have. And I've always heard that our kids should know what the definition of genitalia is. It is our body, it is their body. They should know that this is, I don't even know what YouTube could censor me for, so it's just really is their body, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. Like periods, there's so much I could go into. I just don't know what YouTube wouldn't allow, and I would talk about it so much so. Sex, other things kind of around that, that it's not a bad thing to talk about. It's human life, like it's going to happen eventually, and that I just want my kids to have control over their body. Like, there's so much that I don't know about my body, and I'm just, after even having a baby, I'm married, I'm just now learning about my body because we never were taught it. And I think that is like mind-blowing. But I want my kids to know that that's their body, that's what the words are. So if God forbid anything happened, kids can try to explain to us, like tell us. That's the thing, kids don't know how to say some of these things, you know. Cloth diapers or disposable diapers, we do disposable diapers. I never looked into cloth diapers. I've watched some videos on it actually, just because like I think it's kind of an interesting concept, but we would never do cloth diapers. I don't think anything's wrong with it if you do it at all. Again, what I do, whatever, teach their own. What works for the household unit, not just the baby, not just the mom, but everybody in the household, even your dog, okay? Okay, so my favorite diapers, we don't have a favorite diaper. We literally, the Walmart brand works, Pampers, Loves, Huggies, every brand has worked for us. Actually, there was what brand? There was one brand that didn't, and I can't think of what it was. I think it was, I don't even know what it was, honestly, so. But nothing's like rashed him out, and nothing's like not held well. We've liked it all, so we literally rotate, like it doesn't matter. Cussing is funny to me because I never like cussed growing up, like at all. I thought like if you said a word, you're Satan, you're going to hell. So it's just been more so recent that I've even like used cuss words. And then Grant, like I have to be like, babe, honey, like, okay, we're around your parents, like simmer down a second here, or like, I don't know, which I don't want to be like censored to my kids. I'll explain this. Okay, first of all, cussing. So we're not gonna be a household, at least that I think of, again, everything's evolving and changing, whatever, but like where if you say a cuss word, like like no cuss words ever, like go to jail if you say a cuss word. We're not gonna be that kind of household, but it's all, and I was explaining this to my friend Kelsey, we like to talk about this kind of stuff, and I think we'll be like, first of all, you're different, you are who you are, and I want my kid to be who he is around like everyone. Like I don't want like a personality change, but you're like, I don't know if the word's evolving, but basically I'm different around my very best friend than I am around someone else. I'm different from my best friend than I am around my husband. I'm different around my husband than I am from in-laws or my parents or grandparents, and then around our kids, duh. Like I think you're just very different, and like you're the same person, but you know, if you're like say drinking and like listening to music or something like that with your friends, like you're not gonna say that around like your grandparents. That's what I'm trying to say. We're gonna try to take it just like we're living our freaking life and we're loving on our kid, you know? And also we're not going to be like censoring him from everything in the world. Like he's gonna know things of the world, and we're gonna teach him, like things are gonna be presented to him. There could be a cake in our house, and like you can't just have the cake for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like things are gonna be here, so if a cuss word is here, if he's heard us say it, just because he's heard us say it doesn't mean he gets to say it. Mom guilt. I always thought mom guilt was just that, like going to hang out with friends and then feeling like, oh, like I should be with my son. And I have not felt that way. Like I explained, I thought that was the only way mom guilt is. But recently, past couple months, actually not too recent, but I feel like I've realized like what my personal like mom guilt is. And actually what that is to me, I think, is not providing for my family. I used to be like the sole, and we knew it was gonna change. Like we knew like Grant's job was probably gonna be like the provider, like long term, which I would love for YouTube like to surpass him. I would just be like so good. But anyway, or not even just YouTube, just like whatever. YouTube's gonna be gone in a couple years anyway, so whatever. But wow. Mom goes. So I used to provide for our family. Grant was in college, I was working the jobs, I had the savings, I bought the house, whatever. So that used to be me, is like making the bills done, and now I'm holding $0 to bills. I'm not bringing in anything to bills. Anything I make off YouTube, I invest back into my channel, or I try to. YouTube is this whole other thing. It does not make a lot of money at all, and I am trying, I'm working at it, just as I am getting paid from it, but it's not a lot. It's I'm working a lot more like hours, putting a lot more time, energy into it. because it's important to me, and I know that it can come in the future. And I've seen paychecks. Sorry, Weston's crying. Sorry that I yell, guys, when I talk. It's not just YouTube. I literally do it in life, and Grant told me to calm down. But I've seen paychecks through my YouTube channel that have been higher than when I was working a job. So I have got that. I've seen it, and I know it can happen. I know there's growth in it. Just that's hard on its own. I've had like hyperventilated, cried like multiple times over it. I didn't grow up in a very like not, I don't know, like we weren't I would say like financially stable might be the word, like always like just very comfortable, like just all the time. And I think that's like totally fine. And I know that money doesn't drive me because of that, and I know that I don't need I literally only need love. Like that's why I have this tattooed here. Like that has a lot of meaning to it. I just have like a messed up like mind with financial stuff, and so it stresses me out, and I feel very guilty. I'm like going around the whole topic. So I feel guilty that I'm not leaving my house, going to work a regular job, bringing in a paycheck, and that instead I'm pursuing my dream. It's not just a hobby. It can be a career. It is a job. It does make you money. It is a job. But I feel bad that like I'm pursuing that all, and also that I'm staying home with my son, and like I'm experiencing all this with my son and my husband isn't. So I feel very bad mom guilt about that. And also because, like I said, we don't have to do childcare or daycare or like any of that stuff, which is very expensive because we have both families. For me, I feel guilty because some women probably would die to have one parent, let alone two parents that would do this for them, in that I'm not even like using it. I was talking to a subscriber actually, and she like gave me something that really like made me hold on to, is that it's kind of, you choose like, is money what's most important to you? Like having a very comfortable money life and like being able to just freely go out and buy things and like do stuff more free. So is money the passion, or is what's more important right now like raising your child? And I thought that was good because I need to like set aside any pride or like humble myself or whatever, that like even if it's for like the first few years of like raising a kid or something, that if I'm wanting to raise my child the way I want to raise my child, I have to be okay with the opposite of that, of not bringing in a lot of money. And it kind of goes both ways. But the thing is that sucks for me too is that I am working really hard, but it just doesn't bring in money. Like it's this whole thing. I don't know, I really do think I'm doing the right thing, and so does Grant, but it's heavy for me, I guess, and that's what I would say I have mom guilt on. Alright, here's the sweetheart. I was actually not wanting him in today's video, but I'm working at home and wanting him to be home with me and not get watched all the time because I want to watch him. So this is what happens. Buying kids like a car and like college tuition and stuff like that. We won't pay for Weston's college tuition. Neither of ours were paid for. We'll definitely help him out, say gas or like housing or something. It just will depend on whatever our financial means are. If we don't have a lot of money, then he won't have any help. But if we have a lot of money, then if we have like buku bucks, it probably would be paid for, like if we're like millionaires, you know. But my car wasn't paid for, Grant's car was, and Grant got a really nice car. So like it all will have to depend when we get to that point and how much money we have. But definitely our kids, one thing I can tell you is they will know the value of $1. They will know that things aren't handed to them. They will know that working is important. And that's not to say that he's not going to have nice things. Like I cannot wait to get him a freaking trampoline. Like I've never had that. I feel like, and to some people it might be like, oh, like nothing, but to me, like that's like a luxury. Like my kid is gonna have like everything and more, but he's also gonna know that it doesn't just happen, it doesn't just come, and not everyone's life is that way. So he scratched his face. But grades, I'm not gonna expect him to be like a wizard, or like if you're not Einstein, like I don't know. For sure school's important, but also there's so much outside of school. Just I want him to be a good, overall good person and human and treat people well. I think that's far more important than sports. People that tell you how to parent, I want to say STFU. I'm so lame. No, but really, like, really, yeah. Every baby is different, and with that, every baby's sleeping is different, so that's gonna affect so many different situations. There's so much, and just like the mom life, like if you're a stay-at-home mom, if you work, if you're a stay-at-home working mom, like so many different things, how the dad's life is, if the dad travels, if the dad's home, like there's so much that goes into play, and times freaking change too. We have so much at our fingertips. Someone else kissing my baby right after I had him, like, don't even think about it, you know? Like, they're so young and just like immune to so, is immune the word? No. Whatever, you know what I mean? Like, don't kiss the baby. Like, I wouldn't kiss him on his face even, because I'm no different. I could be carrying something that I don't know about, and that's what they told us, and like my lips touch him. Like, I just didn't want it. And then after he got like breast milk in him a while and got a little bit older, it definitely changed. It was more laxed, and I still don't really want other people like kissing him on the cheek that much, honestly. Like his hair and stuff I'm cool with, but I kiss him on the cheek all the time. I just love kissing my baby. But for some reason I feel like it's different because I'm his mom. Again, like the germ wise, that is no different. Like the mom can carry the germ just as much as anyone else, but I don't know. Also, like grandparents oftentimes, every family is different. Like grandparents will like, before they hug you or something, so like I feel like that's okay, but like anyone else, like I just don't really like it. And Grant doesn't even like, Grant does kiss him, just not often. I'm just very like, I love you and you're so cute. And we don't kiss him on his lips. I don't think that's really honestly weird. Grant thinks that's super weird. Probably just because he's never been around it or anything, and I never really had either, but I definitely see people that like kiss their babies on their lips before bed or something. I don't do that, but I don't care if you do.
Correction, I don't care if you kiss your babies on your baby's lips, but nobody's kissing my baby on his lips. If I don't kiss my baby on his lips, no one else is.
This was interesting. So like people that smoke that hold your baby, we don't really know many people, like we don't know anyone that smokes that holds him. I would never ever let Weston be around someone that is smoking and him be around that. I think that's like, isn't that like literally health like wrong? Like if you're doing that in a car or something, isn't that like literally wrong? I don't know, but I would never allow that. But someone that's like actively smokes holding him, like if they wash their hands and stuff, and it's not all over their clothes, then they could hold him. But if someone just like smells like a cigarette box and like they're just filthy, don't hold my child. Boundaries. She then DM'd me and said that she means like boundaries when he has a girlfriend, stuff like that. Can they go on vacations and stuff like that? And again, that'll all just depend when the time comes. He definitely will be able to like hang out with girls and like do like he'll be able to like, if he has a girlfriend, I would very much say the girlfriend could come on vacation with us. If it's been like if it's a decent relationship and he's not just like flying through girls and they're like old enough and it's okay with both parents and everything, obviously, but like they wouldn't be able to sleep together for a little bit there, and yeah, I don't know, I'm not gonna be like so carefree like, yeah, you go do what you want, like get it boy, like no, but also I'm not gonna be like a very strict parent, and neither is Grant. Like I'm the only one here right now because it's my channel and Grant doesn't really get on camera very much. But everything is stuff that we don't talk about, okay? I will never be perfect, but all his needs will always be met, and he's always gonna be loved like through the freaking roof. So that's the moral of the story with parenting. Every baby, every household, everything is so different, yes, but love on your babies. Be aware of what's going on, and I would say just don't be naive to some things too. I mean, everyone's gonna parent how they're gonna parent, and that's the moral, literally moral of this video, but I just don't want to be naive with my child. I want my kids to know how the world operates and understand it and not be fearful of it, because I, especially like having him in 2020, like And people always have said, even before then, like, I'm so scared to raise a kid in this world. I am not scared to raise a kid in this world. I am so excited, and I'm so thankful that, like, I have a boy. And when I found out I had a boy, I was so extremely excited, because I think this world needs more good men in the world, more good people in general, more good humans. And that starts with at the dinner table. If you want to change the world, go home and love your family, interact with your family, talk with them, make sure they know they're loved. Just all of that is just so wildly important. And my son will know that, and my son will be a great man in this world. So I'm so excited. The world does not scare me to raise a child. That is it for this video. So much. I have so much editing to do. Of course, this is gonna be like another hour-long video. I need to like calm down. I would love to see my mom friends do something like this too. Either answer some of these questions or do a Q&A with their following. I think it would be so good just to hear about different parenting stuff, what the future you're thinking about, and just like what you do, because we're all so vastly different, and we all should be, because we have different households and different necessities and different ways of life. And that's good, and that's fine, and my way is not the right way, okay? It's just a great way for us.
Everything makes total